Wonderful Winks and Weather Wishes, written by Elaine Reese Wyman and illustrated by Rita Friedman. Wonderful Winks and Weather Wishes. The people in Letter People Land always complain about the weather. One day, a new letter person arrives. His name is Mr. W. Mr. W can change the weather. "Welcome to Letter People Land," says the people. "Why, thank you," says Mr. W. "I've come to change the weather." "How can you change the weather?" asks the people. "Why, I have a magical weather machine," explains Mr. W. "I can grant weather wishes." Mr. W shows everyone an amazing weather machine. "What can this weather machine do?" asks the people. "How does it work?" "Wait, one question at a time," smiles Mr. W. "This weather machine grants weather wishes. However, it only works with my wonderful wink. Watch, I will show you. What is today's weather?" "It's very dry," says Wendy. "We need some rain." "Don't worry, we'll have rain," says Mr. W. Everyone watches Mr. W. "Weather machine, we want a weather wish," says Mr. W. "We want wet weather." Everyone watches and waits, but nothing happens. Mr. W smiles. "Remember," he says, "weather wishes only work with my wonderful winks." Mr. W winks a wonderful wink, and the weather machine starts to wiggle and wobble. "Look," shouts Wendy, "it's raining." "Mr. W, you are wonderful," shout the people. "Wet weather is just what we needed." Everyone leaves feeling very happy. Mr. W is very happy too. "I feel wonderful," he says. "I helped other people. They all wanted wet weather." However, people are not happy for long. A group of skiers comes to Mr. W's house. "Mr. W," they say, "we want a weather wish. We want winter weather with snow." "I can grant your weather wish," says Mr. W, "but did you think about the other people in Leather People Land? Remember, it is summertime. No one's going to be ready for winter weather." But the skiers did not want to hear what Mr. W was saying. They were only thinking about themselves. "I will grant your weather wish," says Mr. W sadly. "Weather machine, we want a weather wish," he says. "We want weather with snow." Mr. W winks 3 wonderful winks. The weather machine starts to wiggle and wobble. "Look," shouts the skier, "it's snowing." The skiers thank Mr. W and rush away to ski. Letter People Land is not prepared for winter weather. People are not wearing the correct clothing. They become ill with colds. Cars do not have snow tires. They get stuck in the snow. Everyone is angry at Mr. W. "We do not want winter weather in the summer," they say. Mr. W does not say a word. He winks wonderful winks and changes the weather back to summer. "Maybe now people will think about others before they ask for a weather wish," says Mr. W. Weeks pass by. No one asks for a weather wish. "Phew, I don't have to worry anymore," thinks Mr. W. Then one day a group of children come to see Mr. W. "Mr. W, we want a weather wish," they say. "What is your weather wish?" asks Mr. W. "We want windy weather," answered the children. "We want to practice flying our kites." "I can grant your weather wish," says Mr. W. "But are you thinking about the other people in Letter People Land? Remember what happened last time when I granted a weather wish to the skiers?" But the children did not care what Mr. W was saying. They only were thinking about themselves. "I'll grant your weather wish," says Mr. W sadly. "Weather machine, we want a weather wish," he says. "We want windy weather." Mr. W winks 5 wonderful winks. The weather machine starts to wiggle and wobble. "Look," shouts the children, The wind is blowing and blowing. Mr. W. can grant a wish for windy weather. However, he never knows how windy it will be. This time the wind blows very strongly. Dust blows through all open windows. The people can't walk. Trees are blowing over. Children cannot get home. Everyone is angry at Mr. W. "Why did you grant a weather wish for windy weather?" they ask. "We do not want windy weather." Mr. W. does not say a word. He winks wonderful winks and changes the weather again. "I hope the children will think about others before they ask for weather wishes," says Mr. W. Once again, a few weeks pass and no one asks for a weather wish. Then people forget to think about each other. They each want their own selfish weather wish. Mr. W. cannot make them understand how wrong they are. "Granting weather wishes does not work," says Mr. W. "It is best for me to leave letter people land." So Mr. W. packs his bags and the weather machine outside to his truck. Suddenly he sees a crowd of people. "Mr. W., where are you going?" they ask. "We want weather wishes." "I'm leaving letter people land," says Mr. W. "Granting weather wishes does not work. All of you think only of yourselves when you ask for a wish." "Oh, please do not leave," beg the people. "We were selfish, but we will change." Suddenly, something blows into Mr. W.'s eye, and it makes him wink and wink, and he can't stop. The weather machine wiggles and wobbles. "Look, it's snowing," shout the people. "Oh, Mr. W., stop winking." But he cannot stop, and the weather machine keeps wiggling and wobbling faster and faster. The weather's raining, it's warm, it's cold, it's windy. It's a weather disaster. The weather machine starts to fall apart. Pieces fly everywhere. Soon the whole machine has disappeared. The weather returns to normal, and Mr. W. stops winking. "Mr. W., we are glad the weather machine is gone," says Wendy, "but we do not want you to go." Mr. W. winks a wonderful wink, and just for a minute, everyone is worried. Will the weather change? What do you think?